Modern life often feels like a high-speed loop of consumption and self-invention. We polish the idea of absolute liberty until it gleams, rushing forward without ever noticing that the track leads nowhere. Underneath the noise of our choices, a biological engine is running. The Quran calls it the nafs, the ego. It is an engine designed for survival that quietly climbs into the captain's chair, convincing you that your appetites are actually your own original thoughts. The ego demands total authorship over reality. It refuses to be told who it is, or to be governed by anything older or higher than its own immediate preferences. This chase for absolute freedom is a biological lie. No creature in existence escapes consequence. You can leap from a cliff, but you cannot ask halfway down to be released from gravity. Mistaking these biological appetites for liberty builds a gilded prison around the soul. We spend our lives decorating the bars, unaware that the captain we follow is our own survival instinct. Every traveler eventually notices that the physical world refuses to stay still. The arrangements come loose. We face macro-level forces of reality that human ambition simply cannot control. The ego reads illness, aging, and loss as personal insults. It demands a world that is stable and perfected, failing to realize that instability is the primary design feature of this life. The world is unstable because it is a road that refuses to flatten into a permanent destination is loyally performing its true purpose. Ordinary events often act as invisible tripwires stretched across the day. A casual remark or a failed plan can instantly reveal the true internal state we have been hiding, even from ourselves. In the short rope of consequence, a lie or a theft causes the conscience to flinch immediately. The rope snaps taut, and the resulting guilt acts as a merciful alarm, interrupting your momentum while the house can still be saved. The long rope is far more dangerous. Here, transgressions seem to go unpunished. The conscience is gradually outvoted over years of silence, creating an illusion of victory that masks a slow internal corrosion. Pharaoh lived at the end of a long rope. He possessed absolute worldly power and a heart that mistook divine respite for divine approval. He was shown undeniable signs: plagues, water turning to blood, and days of total darkness. He softened after each warning, but hardened his heart again the moment the pressure lifted, gradually losing the capacity to turn back. When the sea finally closed on him, his heart had been dismantled by his own hand. There was no longer enough of him left to mean the words of surrender he tried to speak. Getting away with a transgression simply means the cost was quietly deducted from the heart's capacity to feel. The long rope is not freedom. It is a delayed reckoning. Severe grief and loss are unavoidable human realities. We must be careful not to label every sorrow as a punishment, as the wisdom behind any single trial belongs to the Creator alone.
Pain ruthlessly exposes what we were truly leaning on for security. It reveals the hooks our ego has placed in the world, showing us where we placed our trust in sand rather than stone. Every trial develops the photograph of our existing attachments. It brings the heart's hidden dependencies into the light, so we can finally see the picture we have been painting. Surviving an unpredictable desert requires an external map written by the one who designed the hazards. The Sunnah functions as an operating system for the human soul. This cumulative code shapes a human being into alignment with the underlying reality of existence. The ego follows passing appetites, bouncing chaotically toward the inevitable. The believer chooses mature obedience, following a guided curve. Real freedom recognizes every action has a consequence. We either shatter against reality or align with its momentum to ascend. The mature believer stops fighting gravity. They use the map to learn how to safely fly with it. A 70-year-old man recognizes that every pain-free hour is alone. He possesses a clear-eyed gratitude, knowing the health he woke up with is held in a hand that owes him nothing. His deepest prayers have shifted away from worldly success. The ambitions of his youth have been replaced by a much quieter, more urgent request. He prays for safe passage. Having watched peers fall in the final lapse of life, their hearts hardening against the truth they spent a lifetime defending, he asks strictly for the steadiness to remain firm. The mature traveler fears falling down just steps away from the final door. The goal is no longer to conquer the world, but to arrive at the end with a sound heart. Love of the world that displaces the love of its creator leads to a state of paralyzing fear. This heart resents the leaving because it cannot imagine anywhere worth going. To the believer, the world is a beautifully appointed waiting room.
The chairs are comfortable, and the windows look on to a fine garden, but the soul remains focused on the door at the far end. The supreme tragedy of existence is experiencing death as a frantic eviction. It is the panic of a soul mistaking a temporary waiting room for its final home. All our worldly reputations resolve into a single final meeting. We stand at last without resumes or allies, bringing only the heart we spent a lifetime shaping. At this threshold, there is nothing left to defend. The ego has run out of arguments, and the soul stands with only the condition of the instrument it brings. This is the destination of the tranquil soul, al-nafs al-motamina. It has aligned so perfectly with its Lord that worldly loss can no longer touch it. It returns home freely, well-pleased and well-pleasing. A successful journey is one where no fall was allowed to end the return. Safe passage is the quiet victory of a traveler who finally arrives at the door they were always walking toward.